Matt Inglot is founder of Tilted Pixel, an agency dedicated to helping 6- and 7-figure membership site owners to grow their businesses. And we have had the pleasure of working with Matt over the past month or so and getting to find out more about his expertise in growing successful membership sites. So wanted to ask you a few questions just for our audience. The first one is, if you're somebody in the business of selling your expertise, like much of our audience, why should they consider making membership part of their offerings?
Yeah, memberships can do a lot of great things for you. The key, of course, is you end up with a durable, recurring revenue business that you're able to scale up beyond being able to trade your time for money in the case of something where you're working with clients one on one. So you're able to scale up that expertise to be able to benefit a lot more people and to do that in a way where you're not going to get burned out because we can all only take on so many clients at a time versus with a membership, if we structure it correctly, then we have this opportunity to help a lot more people, still give them something that's really beneficial, solve really important problems for them, but have something that is scaling and also recurring. And that's just a lovely business to have.
Yes, I agree. Very interesting model. I know that's gaining a lot of traction in our audience. Okay, our second question. Since a lot of our audience are course creators, what's your perspective on combining membership with courses?
Yeah, so they can definitely play very well together in the same business, but it's really important to understand the difference between the two. So, a course is great when the problem you solve is a one off problem. So, normally teaching someone how to do something, for example, that's your typical course, like how to cook fast and healthy meals using a set of strategies and ingredients that result in delicious and inexpensive food. That's the kind of thing that you would pay for once and you get access to it ongoingly whenever you need it. And then once you learn it, that's sort of it. That's the end of a transaction. So, that student has paid you once and that's it. A membership is great when you're solving a problem that can't be solved with one-off materials. So by definition, it's not just a course. So for example, the same person selling a course on how to cook healthy could start a membership that's focused on delivering weekly meal plans. And there, every single week or every single month, you get a meal plan that's complete with ingredients, grocery list, etc., so that you can just take those recipes, go shopping, buy those exact ingredients, and away you go. That's an example of a membership because it's solving that ongoing problem of what healthy food should I make this week? And it's probably going to save you several hours a week with meal planning. So you can definitely sell courses and membership. You just kind of have to understand the difference. And then once you understand the difference, they can work well together in a couple different ways. So for example, you could sell a lower priced course as the first point of entry for a customer to start a relationship with you, to start paying you in order to get value from you. And then the membership can be that next level up. So that's the next thing that they commit to, that they buy. That's the bigger ticket item. I've also seen it done effectively in reverse, where the membership's actually really inexpensive. Maybe it's like $50 a year or even less, but it gets people into the community, it gets them engaged, and then the course is a higher ticket item. Maybe that's $500 or $1,000 for the people that have gotten value out of the membership and kind of have warmed up to the idea of buying this bigger course that achieves this much bigger result. And those are two ways where you can actually combine memberships and courses into the same business.
Thanks. That's actually helpful. And they definitely seem to go very well together. And so, next, I want to ask you, what are your top 3 tips for someone who wants to get off the ground with a membership site?
Yeah, that's so important because you're starting a membership. What do you do? And there's so many different directions that you can get pulled into. And what's the right way to get success with a membership? So here's 3 tips to get going. Number 1 is spend time surveying and interviewing your audience to find out what it is that they're actually struggling with. You want to find problems that are recurring and painful for them. And that way it's a problem you're going to find that they're willing to spend money on. And it's a problem that actually makes sense to have a membership around. This is critical. Otherwise, if you're just launching a membership because you thought this was something that's a good idea, you might put a lot of time and effort into it and you might find that nobody wants to buy it. So it's tempting to skip that step, but do not skip it. Second tip, focus on a really great offer that your audience is willing to pay for. So take all of that customer research and then find a solution that is going to solve that problem for them and package it up into something that looks nice, easy, fun, and just seems like a great deal for the student. And when you're first starting out, don't be afraid to undercharge, right? So don't worry too much about pricing. Don't worry that you're not getting paid enough. Worry about getting people through the door, because you can always increase your prices. You can always optimize your prices later, right? At the beginning, you just want to validate that people are willing to pay money to solve the problem that they said they had. And you want to validate that your offer is resonating with the audience. That's a lot better than putting up your prices too high and then just getting crickets. And then the third tip, don't worry about creating perfect membership materials right off the bat. So creating a membership almost becomes like this amazing creative exercise where you think of all of the amazing things that you can offer your audience. And it's tempting to do too much too quickly and to polish it up too much at the beginning. What you really want to do is you want to focus just on that problem that people have and what's the easiest way to deliver a solution that just solves it. It doesn't have to be polished. So one great hack is, if part of your membership is some sort of learning or video-based content, go ahead and deliver it first as a series of live workshops and do that for the first few cohorts of members. And that'll get you immediate student feedback. It'll remove you from having to create really polished material. And then once you've really refined it and once you see students are getting success from it, that's when you can record the nice set of videos that comes out of that highly refined material.
Great. So find the problem and the pain point, put together a good offer without worrying about price so much in the beginning. And the last one is not thinking you have to have the perfect material from the get-go and just starting off with something to get feedback. So thank you so much, Matt. And then just one final question for you. The landscape is constantly evolving. And how do you have to think about it differently, membership sites? How do you have to think about them differently than you did, say, 5 years ago?
Yeah, the landscape is constantly evolving, just like the rest of the internet. And it's actually part of what makes my job so fun, because every year does feel different. There's the obvious answer, which is technology and online marketing are evolving themselves. So, for example, TikTok went big in the last 5 years. YouTube, that's not exactly new, but it's also become a really powerful way to build a membership site just because video is so hot right now, and so on. So there's those kinds of things. But the other thing that's really changed, I think is really important, is people's expectations, because the online education space has exploded so much over the last 5 years. It just keeps growing and growing and growing. And I think that's really good for everybody, including the students. But at the same time, it's just changed expectations, because people are discovering more and more that a course, for example, isn't everything that they need to solve their problem. They'll buy a course, it technically has everything they need, but then they struggle with implementation. They have questions, or they get demotivated, or they just fall off the wagon. And then when you follow up with them in 6 months, they haven't completed the course, they haven't gotten the result. The expectations are getting to be higher and higher from students and other course creators to really solve that problem. And that's where memberships are actually pretty effective, because you can take away giving somebody just a course and replace it with, we're going to work together on this. We're going to give you material to complete over time. We're going to give you community. We're going to give you support. And you're going to get all of this additional resource in order to really solve the problem that you have. And you can start getting really creative about that. So it's actually this sort of fundamental change that has happened is excellent for memberships, as long as a membership site owner, you're always thinking about the student's problem and how is your membership leading them to the solution to that problem.
Yeah, that's great. Being able to be so flexible and pivot and address problems as they come. Very important. So another benefit of membership sites. Well, thank you so much, Matt. We appreciate you sharing some of your expertise with us, and thank you.
Thanks so much, Jackie.